Welcome back. I missed you. It's been a long time. You're probably tired of my lame jokes, but I'm a dad, I'm a granddad, so I get to have dad jokes. Methods of persuasion, building credibility. You have to be a credible speaker if you want to persuade somebody. If you are trying to convince somebody to be your partner for the rest of your life, you have to be credible. Look, this is what I've got, this is what I can do, this is where I can take us. Unfortunately, a lot of people in love is blind and don't look at any of that stuff. um, I want you to learn more about blindness. I'm blind. I can tell you about blindness. I want you to become more active in politics. I'm active in politics and I can persuade you because I have credibility. I want you to take a hot air balloon ride. I've never done it. I want to real bad. I really do. And I've read enough on it that I could probably persuade you that it'd be a great thing to do. Now, some of you are afraid of heights. You're never going to do it. I mean, that's beyond my control. But if you remember in the last chapter, I told you you don't want to go from 0 to 100. You want to get somebody to move forward. So if I'm afraid of heights and getting a hot air balloon, no way in hell, no, you ain't gonna get me up there. Well, maybe I can convince you that it's a pretty safe sport. And then if we have another conversation later on, maybe I can convince you that it's really not that dangerous, and it's free and lifting. And then moving a little further along, and maybe the next time I can convince you to get in a tethered hot air balloon. And that's one with a rope tied to it. It goes up the end of the rope and they pull it back down. I had a chance to do that, but I wasn't going to go up in a rope and come back down after standing in line for 2 hours. I wanted to fly. So moving in steps, factors. There's different factors involved in persuading people. Are you a competent speaker? Do you have confidence in yourself when you speak? How do you sound? Do you sound articulate or do you sound lost? Now think about this when you talk to people in your life and they're trying to persuade you to do something. How competent, how much weight do you put on competence? If you're talking to a preacher and he's trying to convert you, I got a couple of friends that are preachers, so I can pick on them. You know, does he know the book that he's preaching from? Does he know how to pronounce the words and the chapters and the titles? You know, how competent is this person? How competent are you on the topic when you're doing it? How credible are you? Now, there's three different types of credibility. There's initial, derived, and terminal. Initial is, well, I'm Professor Vernon Humphrey. I have a PhD. And when you come to class, you saw my name on the syllabus and on your schedule, and it says Dr. Vernon Humphrey. So initially, you think I've got some credibility because I have that title. And then during the presentation, during class, I derive a certain amount of credibility from my actions. And I mean, that could be positive or negative, If I walked in flip flop shorts, baseball hat on backwards, and a tank top, and I'm 60 years old, I'd probably go, what's his problem? But if I walk in a suit and I explain to you where I went to school, what I've done, and all this other stuff, maybe, hopefully anyway, that has improved my credibility. And then finally, terminal credibility is what do you think of that person at the end of the presentation? I had a very good friend that was giving a presentation on intelligence during the Desert Storm. And it's all been declassified, so I can talk about it without a problem. But he was showing some pictures. And like the picture looked like the runway had a big hole in it. But the problem was The sand next to the runway didn't have a hole. It was right on the edge of the runway. What they'd done was they painted on the runway and the sand to make it look like it was damaged. But when the wind blew the sand away, the only paint remained was on the runway. Well, he was giving his presentation, and his problem was and this was before I was a comm instructor, so I couldn't have helped him. His problem was, though, he went from here to 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 here. There was no rhyme or reason to his presentation. So although he had the initial credibility, he had the credentials. During the speech, the derived credibility was something that took him down. We took a coffee break, and I heard people going, man, he's a freaking idiot. You don't know what he's talking about. He was a very intelligent man, and he knew what he was talking about. He just didn't know how to say it. So by the end of his presentation, his terminal credibility was low. How do you enhance your credibility? Explain your competence. You know, in my introduction, I told you where I went to school, what I did, da 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 da. Explain your confidence. When I talked about hot air ballooning in the last video, I explained I've never hot air ballooned, but I really want to, and I've read a lot about it. Establish a common ground. In chapter 16, I talked about, connecting with the audience. We have a problem. That's a common ground that you're building. We need to do this. This is affecting our children. This is affecting our parents. This is affecting our air or water. Find a way to connect with them. Be fluent. Now, I've had some students that were bilingual. English wasn't their first language, and they are always afraid to get up in front of the class and talk. And I said, look, I can't do it in your language. At least you know enough to try to do it in 2 languages. And at times I've seen some bilingual students stall, and it's like, I can't remember the name of that word. Well, if English is your first language, more often than not, you know 2 or 3 different words for one item. If you're thinking pencil, you could say pen. Nobody's really going to know the difference. And you could even say crayon. It's something that writes. So a lot of times people that English isn't their first language are timid about public speaking because they're afraid they're going to sound dumb. On the other hand, to me, if you can give a speech in 2 languages, you sound pretty smart. So I got a question. What do you call somebody that speaks 2 languages? Bilingual. How about 3? There it is. Trilingual. And 4? Quadrilingual. How about 1? American. In most other countries, people speak more than 1 language. In Europe, almost everybody speaks English. Not well, but they speak some. But they won't speak it if they think that you are not trying. So I at least learned hello, goodbye, thank you, please, where's the bathroom, and how to order a beer when I go to a country. And if you try to speak their language, more often than not, they'll try to speak yours. That's connecting. That's establishing a common ground. But if you're going to speak about something, be fluent about it. If there's technical terms that need to be used, understand and know how to say those technical terms. If it's medical terms, understand and know how to say those medical terms. If you're talking about people, understand and know how to say their names. Be expressive. I could sit here like this and give you this presentation, and it really wouldn't go over too well. Because that's not who I am. And I'm not going to be frozen in time. And most of you are not like that either. But a lot of you, the videos I get, hi, I'm going to talk to you about a toast I made at a wedding to my brother Bob and my other brother Jack. Be conviction. Show some conviction. Show passion. Many of you have given me videos, and I write, let the passion out. Let that passion come out. So I know, I know you're passionate about it. I know it means a lot to you. But let me know what you're going to say. Use evidence. It's like I was talking about the first president. I used evidence to show you that George Washington wasn't the first. Reasoning. You can reason from instance. All men are mortal. Let's see. Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is mortal. You can reason from cause and effect, causal reasoning. Vern was walking down the street, the car backfired, he had a heart attack and killed over. Did the backfire cause a heart attack? No. Vern hasn't been eating right, and he hasn't been exercising, and his arteries got clogged. It just happened at the same time. Analogical reasoning is like tennis or ping pong, goes back and forth. Now, there's some different reasonings or fallacies that we interact or we connect with, and one of them is false cause. For example, the heart attack I just told you about. An invalid analogy. They say God is love, and love is blind, and Vern is blind, therefore Vern is, no, I'm not going there. But it's invalid. It doesn't add up in reality. And many times during political discussions I have with people, they have a lot of invalid analogies. It's not true, but they make it add up to where it sounds like it is. Bandwagon. There's a lot of that in politics. A lot of people join a political group, party, or whatever. Well, their friends are doing that, and so it's got to be real and da 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 da. No, it doesn't have to be real. Just jumping on the bandwagon is not a reason to do it. Red herring is another one. And this is another question I like to ask in class because I like to see students' faces and reactions. But do you know what a red herring is? Do you really know what a red herring is? I know you've all heard it. Well, a red herring is actually a fish from the North Sea. And the way this got, a red herring is basically a false trail. You're taking somebody down a false path just to change the topic and get them off of it. And it started because these peasants got tired of these rich English guys and their horses and their dogs tearing up their fields and their gardens. So they'd take a bunch of red herring and drag them on the ground around their property. And then when the dogs were chasing a fox, the dogs would get detoured and distracted by that red herring smell, and they start following the red herring and go around the field as opposed to through the garden. So red herring is a false trail. It's I'm misleading you, distracting you, taking you somewhere else. Ad hominem is against the man. Literal translation, so women, please don't get upset with me because I didn't include you in it. But for example, somebody could have a Omicron Psi T-shirt on. That's a non-traditional student honor society, by the way. But I didn't like that program. But instead of attacking the program, I might attack the person. That guy's an idiot. Look at that shirt he's wearing. It doesn't mean anything. If he's that dumb and he can get in that program, then the program really sucks. Da da da. But I'm attacking the person, not the program, because I'm saying that person is dumb and that person is an idiot and that person doesn't know what they're doing and that person this. A lot of times there are ad hominem arguments and political discussions. I could have an ad hominem argument against most any politician about why I do or don't like them, or why I don't like them if it's against them. But a lot of times it's not based on fact. Either or. You either have to do this or that's going to happen. No, you either have to drink water or you're going to die. That's an either or. But there ain't a whole lot more of them, okay? If you do this, this is going to happen. If you drink, it's going to destroy your liver. You can't drink. There's some people live over 100 years old that have a glass of wine a day. So, it's not always black and white. There are all kinds of other things that are involved in it. So anytime somebody gives you an either or argument, not anytime, but most times if you get an either or argument, then it's false. Something's wrong somewhere. It's not that black and white. Water, yeah, that's either or. Slippery slope. Well, if they legalize that marijuana, then everybody's going to start doing heroin. Not necessarily. If you look at the cases where marijuana has been legalized in the states or decriminalized, the increase in harder narcotics has not shown evident. But for years, that was the argument. You can't legalize that because of. Now they can legalize alcohol and tobacco, which in many cases are just as bad as worse. But the argument was, if you do this, then that's going to happen. You can appeal to tradition. And sometimes a fallacy appealing to tradition. Well, that's the way we've always done it. If you ever go to work or somewhere and you see something and you go, why do we do this that way? If their argument is that's the way we've always done it, that's an appeal to tradition. They aren't trying to persuade you this is good or bad or indifferent. This is the way we've always done it, so that's the way we're going to keep doing it. Appealing to novelty. It's something new. It's different. And it intrigues us. People can appeal to emotion. That's what I was talking about earlier, the sad music in those poor puppy dogs. Have you ever noticed? I mean, look, think about it. They take a picture of a dog in a kennel in the snow, shivering. Do you think they snuck around till they found a dog in a kennel in somebody's backyard, climbed a fence, and went up and took a picture of it? No, they put the dog out there in that miserable conditions and took pictures of it to try to get you to feel sorry for them. Fear is an emotion you can appeal to. My mother persuaded me to do a whole bunch of stuff because I was afraid of her. And I still am. She's 89. And I'm still afraid of her. But fear is an emotion that is used often for persuasion. Pride. American, buy America. I'm proud to be an American. I served 20 years in the Army. And when I saw my flags in my county courthouse shredded, I took them down. I took them to the police department and said, either replace them or don't put them back up. And it was like, what? I said, look, I served. I'm proud to be an American. And that's a disgrace. And so they were a little upset that I took their flags down, but they finally understood why I did it. Anger. Get somebody mad. There's some movie, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. People demonstrate, people get upset, people get mad. You can persuade them, and often used method of persuasion is getting people mad. Guilt. I don't know how many of y'all caught little frogs when you were small. You know, those little, not the big water frogs, but little frogs that hop around the grass and everything else. I caught them when I was a kid, and my mom would always, I put them in a jar, and my mom was always, I bet he misses his mommy. And how would you feel if somebody took you away? So I'd go let the frog go. You know, she didn't persuade me by fear that time. She persuaded me by guilt. And we have that happen in all kinds of our um, relationships. And the last one is reverence. You can be persuaded basically by somebody's reverence. What do you think of that person? Are they knowledgeable? Are they factual? Do you look up to them? They're kind of like a hero. You revere that person, then it's easier for that person to persuade you. So that was methods of persuasion. Once again, you're going to have to give me a persuasive video. This time it's 7 to 10 minutes. And if you read the syllabus says that you will find a video on TED Talks, TED.com. Go find a video and make a video of you persuading me why I should watch that video. Are you persuading me that it's a factual video? Or you could be persuading me that they're wrong. It's the longest speech you have to do, 7 to 10 minutes. So think about it. Don't want to lose a lot of points because you're short on time. But think about, find something on TED Talks. And if you can't find anything on TED Talks, but you can find something that maybe TED Talks doesn't have one about hot air balloon riding, but maybe YouTube does. Email me and we'll talk about it. Okay? And it's the last speech. I hope that you have grown as a public speaker. I've tried to give you the best tools that I can. If you do not have a grade for your other speeches, email me. Some of you emailed me a link because you couldn't get it on Blackboard. And I don't know why you couldn't get it on Blackboard, but next time just put it in your outline and then put it on Blackboard. This has to have an outline. If you use references, you have to cite them. I don't want to hear persuasion because, in my opinion, your opinion's great. In my opinion, hot air balloon riding is fantastic, but I don't know. But I can cite some sources that say it's fantastic. So cite some sources. I'm not giving you a minimum or a maximum. Just cite them in your presentation. With that said, this is it of chapter 17. I'm looking forward to your speeches, and I'll talk to you later. Any questions, you can call me, 706-329-7960, or email me, and you have my email address. Good luck and have a great day. Bye.